Hey guys, it's Cameron Davis, and I'm here at Orbis to ask Ms. Bruce about some resume tips, and we're gonna get into it. So, this is my resume. Whenever you're looking at it, like what do you look at in a resume? Like what immediately stands out?
I really only have positive feedback for your resume. So that it being one page, so it needs to be pretty to the point. You don't want to have a lot of words. I do usually look for an objective, so I try to see what the person's interested in, or what sort of position you're looking for. I look for grammatical errors, especially if it's a position where you're hoping to, you might have some email communications, verbal communications, because we want it to be professional. So I do look for grammatical errors, which you don't have any of those either. But you have good work experience, no real gaps in employment, but it's obvious you have a lot of initiative, very smart. The only feed forward I would have for your resume, so a word we use here at Orbis is feed forward. So you have feedback, which you look back on a situation and you get feedback on what has already happened. So going forward, my only feed forward would be make sure for the skills that you have listed, if someone starts to ask you questions or ask for examples on these skills, that you have examples ready of times that you've used the behaviors that you say you have, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that means whenever you look at a resume, you try to look at areas where you can ask questions, learn more about that person.
Yeah, so when we interview people, we have a general set of interview questions, but we will go forward and dig a little bit deeper into your resume and say, can you give me an example of a time when you solved a dispute? So be prepared for what you have on your resume, that you can actually back up what's on there. Something else, so you have good experience with Fazoli's and as a co-op at the attorney's office. If you've done any sort of training or anything that would help you go above and beyond in the role you're looking for, to also give some tangible tasks that you've done around that. So if you've helped with training, I don't know what else you might have done at Fazoli's, but any sort of other tangible task, to try to list those under your work experience.
Okay.
But you have good experience, didn't see any grammatical errors. You're off to a much better start than I was when I was in my senior year of high school, that's for sure. So I'm going to keep you on my good side.
So then if work experience is key to what you want in skills, is there some way that you want it to be organized when you look at it, or does that have any specific?
No, I don't think so. I don't personally look specifically. Just make sure it's more to the point. So once you get more work experience and this section of work experience starts to grow larger, you could probably make this section grow smaller. Yeah, but it's a good use of space also. So maybe just as this grows, make this smaller.
So as time goes on and someone gets older, how long should they keep putting in their education related experience in there? Like I know for a while you might want to stop putting in your certain, like I was in this club in high school, but after a while, like when should someone stop putting that in their resume?
Sure. Probably when you have, I would say, a few years of work experience that are actually going to match what you're going for. So I have about 15 years of experience with HR, so I would list my HR experience in greater detail, and then I might go to the job I had before that as a supervisor and just have a bullet or two, and then just list my specific degrees. So
Okay.
once you have that work experience to back up that you're qualified for the position, you could probably just more list the degrees rather than the extracurriculars.
Gotcha.
Until you get that, keep these on here, because that's very good. So if I have a new high school student or a just recently graduated student come in, if I see that they were into sports or part of a team, so they're committed to an extracurricular activity that shows that they're going to go above and beyond and that they're engaged in school, that's going to tell me that they're engaged in their job and in their work.
With people. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that'd be good. And if you're a part of all these, that also means you're more than likely going to have good attendance because you were there to do all of those things. So when we look for somebody in production, at least we look for good attendance, we look for an engaged employee, somebody's going to work safe. We also look, I don't know how you look, but look for opportunities that might tell us that somebody is going to be drug-free as well, which all of these do that. But our work environment here has some dangerous spots, so we need to make sure people are drug-free as well.
Understandable. I think it's just sort of a last question that I have. Is there anything that immediately would turn you onto some person whenever you look at a resume? Like, if it's not on mine, then is there anything that you look at and you're like, oh, that is something that is definitely...
So the good use of space in the one page is very good, especially if you have more work experience to list and you need two, that's okay. If it got extremely wordy, it turns you off pretty quick. So the bullet points are good. But honestly, showing no gaps in work experience or that you've been at a place for 2 or 3 years. People don't stay with a job as long as they used to, so if you get somebody that's been somewhere for 2 or 3 years, that means that they're going to more than likely stay here for a while. It cost us here about $5,000 or $6,000 to train somebody to go through the recruiting process and train, so we want to make sure that that person's going to stay for a little bit. Right, so if we were to have high turnover, we would have a lot of turnover cost. But this allows us to see that you would come and you would stay with us for a while and be worth the investment.
Well, thank you for your time and answering my resume questions. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in. It's fun to be a part of this. We enjoy this a lot, so thank you.